Hi guys, I'm Ashley Venture-Ette and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you've been with me from the get-go, welcome back, and if you're new, well, welcome. So I first just want to address the elephant in the room. If you look on my channel, the last time I uploaded, I was in Bali and it was January 2019. Now it's April 2020 and I'm back in the US. So what happened? Well, that's what I want to share with you guys today. So a lot has happened in the last year and a half, and I just want to be open and honest with you guys as to why I stopped YouTube for a while and what has happened since Bali. But before I really dive into that, I really just want to kind of start from the get-go with my journey of living abroad. So for those of you that don't know me, I first moved abroad in 2014. I first moved to Barcelona, Spain. Now, I did this because it was just a lifelong dream of mine to not just live abroad, but just experience another culture. I mean, I grew up in suburbia, Portland, Oregon, and, had a very, good life, a very fortunate life. And I was also lucky enough to go to Mexico every year to see my family, but I really just wanted to see more of what was out there. I grew up watching Anthony Bourdain, and he really just inspired me to just, not just travel, but really just kind of get personal with people, like learn more about like day-to-day life and, different parts of the world, and really just get to know other people. And I really wanted to, do that for myself. And of course, eat amazing food. Anthony Bourdain always ate, and I'm a foodie, so I wanted that experience too. So I was fortunate enough to move abroad via teaching English, though I'm not an education major. I did not, study teaching. I'm a merchandising management major, and I worked as an assistant buyer for 2 years. But I just, in that time working as an assistant buyer, I just really just dreamed of a different life and just experiencing life in a different way. I really just saw my life flash before my eyes, and I just kind of realized, oh wow, like this is going to be my day-to-day, every day, every week for, I don't know how many years until I retire. And I just panicked. I just thought, that's not what I want for myself in this life. I want to do more than just work. And it's not that I didn't enjoy my job, I did, but I just felt like I wanted other kind of experiences to have like a really full and rich life. So I went to Google. I Googled jobs where you travel a lot, and I found teaching English, and I just thought, perfect. I had never taught before. I was honestly a little bit uncomfortable talking in front of a lot of people, but I just thought this is something I feel like I can do, so I'm gonna go for it. So I enrolled in the International TEFL Academy, which I will give the link below if you are interested, not teaching abroad, because obviously you can't, but if you want to teach online and you need a TEFL, do that. So I enrolled with them, and I did their online course. It was took about 3-4 months to complete. And during that time, I applied for jobs, and I ended up finding a program in Barcelona, Spain as a conversation assistant, where I got to live with a host family and, work with kids and everything. So I did that for a while, where I was teaching. I went to Spain, I eventually moved to Istanbul, Turkey, and then I moved to Vietnam. And, it was good. I mean, teaching did come pretty naturally for me, even though I'm not gonna lie, there were moments that it was a struggle, especially with language barriers. But what was more important was that I was getting to travel and see the world, and that's really what I wanted, and I was accomplishing that, and I was seeing the world how I wanted to. I was moving to countries that I wanted to. I was not with an agency or anything where they were telling me to move here, move there. Like, it was my choice, and that was very freeing. And so after doing that for a few years, I really just started to question, okay, well, what now? I started thinking this when I was in Vietnam, so this was about towards the end of my time in Vietnam, so 2017. And I just started to think, well, okay, I've, been able to do what I wanted to do, but how do I contribute to the world? Like, what's my purpose? Like, where do I go from here? And And honestly, since then, it's been an ongoing journey to figure out what that is. And I think I can speak for most of us, that trying to figure out your calling and all that jazz, it's difficult, and it does not come overnight. So I left Vietnam in December 2017, and that's where the journey really began. And I went back to Barcelona, Spain to start a job, a remote job, and that was gonna allow me to stay in the EU, and I was very excited because Barcelona is my favorite city in the world. It is the one place where I feel at home. Portland, I'll get into that later, I just feel like it's not home. But, so I was supposed to do that, and I went there, and the start date kept getting pushed back. So then I went to Argentina to visit some of my family who live there. I'm not Argentine, but my uncle was and his family were living there because of his job. So I went there, and that's when I found out the news that the job that I was supposed to start, the remote job I was supposed to start, fell through. And I was devastated because I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was like, okay, I can't go back to Spain. I don't wanna go back to Asia. I don't wanna go back to the US. What do I do? And so in that time, I started my blog, and I just started creating content. I just felt it was a way, it was like a release to just kind of just share stories and just kind of share what was going on in my time in Argentina. So I was thinking, okay, well, where do I go next? My visa in Argentina was gonna expire, even though my family was gracious enough to let me possibly stay even longer. If I wanted to just go to Uruguay for a day and then come back and renew my visa, I could have, but I just thought, no, I need to move on and do something else. So I eventually settled on Manchester, England, because as an American, you can stay in the UK for up to 6 months in a 1-year period. And my best friend Jess, who I met in Barcelona in 2014, lives there and is from there. So I thought, you know what, I just thought, why not? I had already been to Manchester before, and I thought, why not spend the summer there? So yeah, I booked a ticket, and the day I arrived, she asked me, Ashley, what are you gonna do after England? I said, I don't know. I just got to the UK. Don't know what I'm gonna do after. And she said, well, would you want to move to Bali together? And I just said, yeah, why not? I had been to Bali before. I really liked it. Never thought to live there, but I just thought, I mean, why not give it a go? And then also I want to say that with the job that fell through, I had already applied to and accepted a job with VIP Kid that was going to be a backup, and as well as a supplementary job to the remote job I was supposed to do. But because it fell through, it became my full-time job. So that's how I was working at the time. So, and also, started to blog. And so as soon as I accepted Jess's offer to move to Bali, so we planned everything. We planned what we wanted to do. We had given ourselves a lot of goals that we wanted to accomplish together. We wanted to go into business together. We wanted to start an agency together. We wanted to do so much. And I felt like I was learning a lot from her because she is a successful blogger. She is basically an influencer, if you want to use that term. But and I just really felt like I was moving in the right direction. And so we moved to Bali, and the first month we were living in Ubud, and it was a dream. Like, it was almost picture perfect, not completely. There's always things that go wrong, but for the most part, I mean, it was good. I mean, Bali, I mean, if you've ever been or if you've seen photos or videos, it's lush, it's serene, it's just beautiful, and the people are so kind, and it's very affordable, and it's just so much more relaxed, and especially because when you're living on an island, it's very relaxed. And it was just a very different way of life compared to Vietnam. Like, I was living in Hanoi, in a city, and it was just a completely different pace in terms of different countries in Southeast Asia. So so after the first month, I mean, that's where just kind of life started to happen. Jess was going through a lot of personal things at home that was really affecting her emotionally, and rightfully so. I mean, her grandmother had passed away. Her father was suffering through some health issues, and I was trying to support her the best way that I could. But in that time, I was struggling as well because I just didn't know how to move forward. The things that we wanted to do together, I just didn't really know if I wanted to. And I was starting to get all of these negative feelings, and I just couldn't figure out why. I just thought, why do I feel so unhappy? I'm living in paradise, you know? My life should be perfect, right? And no, I really was just struggling. I just didn't know what to do. And eventually I came to the realization that I didn't want to work together. With Jess, I wanted to just keep our friendship. And I'm so grateful that Jess, you know, did like accept that decision, and our friendship continues to be, you know, stronger than ever. And I'm so grateful for her. But even after making that decision, I just didn't know where to go. And that's really just kind of part of the reason, well, really the reason why I stopped making YouTube videos, was because I didn't know what I wanted to share. And I just felt like what I would have shared would have been a lie. Because even though in the last video I did share a little bit how I was kind of, you know, struggling a little bit of what to do, I just didn't really feel like showcasing this amazing place and try to make it seem as if life is great when I just didn't feel great at all. I felt like it would have been very inauthentic, and I felt like it just would have been a lie, and I just didn't feel inspired to do it anyway. So I just felt like, yeah, creating like YouTube content just really just needed to, you know, take a seat on the bench. And so in January, I had already decided that I was going to go back to the US for a bit, because my cousin was getting married that June, so I wanted to fly back to Portland, spend some time with my parents and brother before flying down to Mexico for her wedding, which I was in. But the months leading up to that, I really was just, I don't know, I was trying to figure it out. And eventually I did meet some really great friends in the hotel that I was living in. And yes, a lot of people live in hotels or guest houses in Bali, since it's such a huge digital nomad scene. And I found out that their business was doing Facebook ads and teaching other people how to do Facebook ads. So I just thought, okay, well, that's something I feel like I could do. I wanted to do something again that kind of related to my field of what I studied in college. And I just thought, and looking at the business model, I just thought, okay, that's something that I can do. So I went for it. I invested a pretty penny into their program, and I was all in. I cold called and cold emailed for a little over a month, like a month and a half. And it took about that long to get my first yes. And when I got my first yes, I cried. And they were not tears of joy. I cried because I just thought, wow, I put in so much energy and of my time into this, and it just did not feel rewarding. It didn't feel satisfying. It just didn't feel like I thought it would feel when someone gives you a yes. Because for anyone that's done cold calling, like, it sucks. But if you're gonna cold call, I would hope that you're doing it because it's something you really believe in. And if not, then, I mean, then what's the point? And that's just kind of how I felt. I didn't feel like my heart was in it, and I just was frustrated again because I really just wanted something for myself, and I just didn't know what that is, and I just kind of knew then and there that that was not going to be it. So I put that on the back burner for a little bit for my last month in Bali. I still was teaching online, but I just still, you know, enjoyed my last month before coming back to the US. So I came back to the US, and you know, the first month back, I mean, it's great, right? You see friends you haven't seen in a few years. It's exciting, everyone's happy to see you. Then I went to the wedding. It was kind of that same, you know, vibe with my family, my extended family. And then I came back to Portland, and you know, I wanted to leave again, but I didn't know where to go. And that's where I decided I just need to stop. I need to pause and stay still and not move. Because for, you know, I moved to 6 different countries in a 5-year period, and I moved to 4 countries in 1 year, and that was in 2018. And it really does kind of get to you after a while. I mean, unless you know what you're going for and you have like a purpose or you have a goal, I mean, fine. But if you're just kind of wandering here and there, you have to kind of stop for a sec and realize, okay, what am I doing? And that's what I felt like I needed to do. So yeah, I needed this time to just kind of reflect and really soul search as to where I want to go and what I want to be doing, because I just thought if I'm going to leave again, I want to leave doing something that I really want to be doing, and grow the way I want to be growing. Not just leave for the hell of it, because you can't run from your problems, and I know this. I mean, I've left relationships behind and everything, and they still chase you no matter where you are in the world. Like, your problems will always be there, and I didn't want to do that. So I really had to think. And then so then also there was just kind of dealing with the culture shock of coming back to the US. I mean, I had been overseas for almost 5 years, and I really grew accustomed to living a different life, and being around different people and different types of people. And it was just, of course, the culture shock to, one, the prices, the US. I mean, especially after coming from Bali, US prices, to me, I was just blown away. So there's that. But then also, coming back, it was kind of like going back in time in a way. It was kind of like going back in time because, it came back and, the city pretty much like virtually looked the same. But then, of course, what was different is, that people have of course grown. They've gotten older, they have their families, or they have, their purchased homes, or they're well seasoned into their career. So it was just, but to me, they look the same. I mean, we're still young. My friends are like 29, around that age. But it was just different compared to how I had left it when I was 24 in 2014. And so it was just adjusting to that as well, that everyone has their life here, like they've built their life here. They have now like their new groups of friends here. And for me, it was really starting over in my hometown, and I didn't really want to start over. It was just, I still continue to see Portland as a temporary place. And so it was just kind of like, how do I adjust? Because moving from country to country the way it did these last few years, I mean, I was around people that were doing the same, people who lived their life with spontaneity, and people who were really just always down for these different kind of adventures and all these things. And then coming back to the US, people really like stability. People really like their comfort. And I'm not saying everyone is like that, because they're not, but it's just the majority of people that I've come across with, do like those kind of things. And for me, it's just been very different. And it's just a very different mentality, and just very different day to day. And it was just really a struggle. And I think for anyone who can, I mean, I hope, you can relate in some way where you had to leave something, or maybe not had to, but you left something behind, for a long period of time, and then having to come back to something you left because you weren't happy in. Because when I left in 2014, I wasn't happy where I was. I really wanted to grow as a person. I really wanted to see what I could do on my own. And I felt like I had accomplished that. And coming back to the US, having to refigure out things again, I felt like I had taken a major step back in my life, and I really just didn't know where or how to move forward. And so if anything, what really helped me through this time was my group of friends. And I continue to have great friends here, but then I have great friends that live in other cities in the States, who live in other countries in the world. I mean, that has just been one huge benefit as to my life these last few years, is that I have friends all over the world, and good ones, and ones that I can trust, and who understand me and who know me. And because I just feel like just because you grew up with someone doesn't mean they're gonna really know you in and out. Living abroad, I really developed these friendships and relationships that developed very quickly and were very raw right away, just because, you know, you leave your friends and family, you know, who live like thousands of miles away, if not millions of miles away, and you have to create a new family abroad. And so you come across these people who are very open, and you know, you're open as well, and I don't know, you just like bond in a very unique, intense, beautiful way. And so those kind of friends really helped me through this time. But then also a lot of podcasts. There's a few I can recommend you guys. Like, one is the Life Coach School podcast, Mind Valley, Jay Shetty, On Purpose. A lot of podcasts just really just trying to get in that right headspace. So it was a lot to deal with coming back. And then also too, there was the fact that, you know, I was living at home, and that also, I just felt like it was a huge step backwards. You know, as you grow older, you want to continue to have that independence, and when you don't have that true independence, I don't know, it can be overwhelming. So there was a lot to deal with, and there's a lot that I have dealt with, but I've pretty much reached a point where I've accepted it all. I mean, one thing that was really also getting me through the days was that I was planning on leaving again to go back to Barcelona, Spain for the summer. My best friend Jess and I, we were going to meet up there next month in May, celebrate my 30th there, spend the summer there together to celebrate the beginning of my 30s, and just, I don't know, just live and work together. But obviously with what's going on in the world, that's just not going to happen, and that's okay. Also, I had other plans for myself that I really wanted to move forward with. That's not going to be able to happen given the circumstances, but that's okay. So obviously I'm going to stay in the US a lot longer than I could have ever anticipated. I've really just had to learn to accept Portland for what it is, and accept my situation and my life for what it is. I feel like everything is meant to happen and nothing is an accident. So that's something that I've really learned, is that everything that has happened was meant to happen, and I don't regret anything, and I don't wish anything could have happened any other way. I feel like either way, I'm still very happy with the way things have played out, because it's gotten me to a point where I am happy with myself, even though there's days where, you know, of course, I'm still kind of like, oh, what's going on in the world? I think like most people, I've still just have learned to just keep a positive mindset through everything. So I want to share with you guys, so what are some things that I wanted to do or did do. So it really kind of took a while, but so a friend of mine, she reached out to me to do some branding photography for her. And so I flew down to Oaxaca, Mexico in February, which I'm going to do a whole video on that, as well as a blog post, so stay tuned. She, you know, really liked my photos that I was posting on Instagram. I mean, I met her in Bali last year, and the photos I was doing, I really didn't think much of it. I mean, I had done some photography for my friend Jess as well, for her blog, and some projects that we were working on together, but I really never thought much of it. And so really, with my friend Megan, who hired me to do this branding photography for her, it really just kind of gave me a step in the direction that I wanted to, because I am a creative and I love doing photos. I love editing. I love making people look good, or making something look good, especially with food. I love taking photos of food. The foodie in me, I love making things look good. I studied styling and did styling in college, and it's something I'm still very passionate about. So that was something I really was going to pursue, and I am going to pursue. But because of the state of the world, of course, that's going to be put on pause for a while, but that's okay. That just means that's just more time for me to work on photos of myself, and, you know, just better my skills and everything. So yeah, but that opportunity in Oaxaca in February was just really out of this world. And you know, my friend, she's a really successful like businesswoman in the fitness industry, online fitness industry. And so it was just amazing, not just to get to work with her and like shoot for her, but also just learn a lot from her as well. So that was really just something that I felt like I really needed. Also, another project that I've been working on these last few months and I'm really excited to announce. So by the time I upload this video, it'll either already have launched or it'll be just about to, just working on some technical difficulties. But I am launching a podcast, and it's something that I am so excited to do and to have been doing. It's an idea that honestly came to me when I started my blog. I really thought of it as an idea for my blog, but I never pursued it. And then this last year I was thinking about it again, and I just thought, why not make it into a podcast? And what it is you know, it's one thing for me to share my story, but you know, while I was living and traveling abroad, I met so many other women who were doing what I was doing. They moved abroad, they traveled, they had these experiences, they, you know, had all these highs, they had all these lows, and they had like such beautiful and unique stories. And I just thought people need to hear this. I feel like, you know, especially as women who, you know, there are people that think that women shouldn't, you know, go do things on their own, or shouldn't, you know, travel by themselves, or, you know, do these kind of things. You know, I met so many women who have done it, and they were smart about it, and they were brave, and they now have this beautiful, amazing story to tell. And I really just wanted to create a platform for that. So that's where the idea for this podcast stemmed from. So I'm really excited for the women that I will be showcasing on my podcast. It'll be them telling their stories as to, you know, why they moved abroad, how they did it, and, you know, just, you know, what came from it. So if you already live abroad, or if living abroad is something you want to do, or you just, you know, like to hear stories, it's definitely a podcast I would recommend for you. I love listening to these women's stories, and so I hope that you will too. Also, I really just kind of decided, you know, I had created a platform, you know, over these last 2 years where, you know, with my blog and, you know, a bit of YouTube and everything, and I don't want to give it up. I feel like I have so much I have to say. There's so many things I want to share, you know, just from my experiences and just everything that I'm learning, and I want to share that with you guys. So if you made it this far in today's video, I'm so thankful for you, and it's people like you that I want to share my content with. And so I really feel like I needed to just get into that right headspace and just figure out what it is that I want to be sharing with people, because if I'm going to share something, I want it to be something valuable, not just something meaningless, not just something just for clout or anything like that. I really want it to be genuine and coming from the heart. And I feel like it just kind of took me a while to just kind of get to this place. So it's been an ongoing journey. It will continue to be, especially during this time where the earth, like where this planet, where this earth has been, you know, is on a standstill. And right now we have the time to just kind of sit back and, or maybe not sit back, but just kind of just sit and think and reflect as to, you know, how you want to be spending your days, or how you want to move forward in this world. I just don't, I mean, I know right now it's very tricky to think that you can do anything, but I feel like there's ways that you can, whether it's, you know, buying something from a local business, or I don't know, just talking to people, or just, you know, giving some of your time to someone, you know, like FaceTiming, you know, whatever it is. I feel like there's something you can give. I don't think there's nothing too small that you can give. So it's just, yeah, just figuring out what it is that you have to offer. Again, it doesn't have to be anything grand. It doesn't need to be full-on video. It's just, you know, what can you give, even if it is just to one person? I feel like that just, you know, makes all the difference right now. So so yeah, that's just what has happened. That is what is happening, and I, hope that you found this video, not just interesting, but maybe relatable as well, because maybe you're trying to figure out what you want to do or how you want to move forward, in this life. And maybe you've had many setbacks. Maybe you're going through a setback right now. I feel like most people are, and that's okay. So yeah, let me know, what you're going through or what you have gone through. I'd really like to know. So yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.